the street where the old men play chess, teaching life moves slow, but wisdom moves fast. Two fellas on the corner, been there since way back, trading stories with strangers, keeping track. When the evening comes down, they share what they know. Simple words hit deep like bells down below. Skies, 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 on the streets of San Antonio, skies, 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 near the walls of the Alamo. Skies, so wide. Every night they're speaking low, lies, lies, in the heart of San Antonio. Fred's got that laugh that makes summer feel cool. Mario's got stories from the Alamo, sitting at Tony G's where time stands still, passing down knowledge like an ancient will. When the evening comes down, they share what they know. Simple words hit deep like bells down below. Skies, 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 on the streets of San Antonio, skies, 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 near the walls of St. Philip's. So wide, so wide. Every night they're speaking low, in the heart of San Antonio. Let the music speak, let the rhythm flow. Ancient wisdom moving down the roads we know. Skies, 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 on the streets of San Antonio, skies, 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 near the walls of the Alamo. So wide. Every night they're speaking low, in the heart of San Antonio. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling seas. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day,
just march on till victory is won.
When I came back from the war, I was barely hanging on by a thread. I'm here today because of Tanya's relentless efforts in trying to get me healed. And says, Michael, I know you've got a plan to take your life today, but if you give me just 5 more minutes to love you.
5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, honey, 5 more minutes to love.
Michael has actually taught me what it looks like to accept help.
The bravest person I know is definitely my dad, 100%.
My friend Sean.
My daughter Cynthia, and she was in the United States Army.
One of the bravest things he ever did wasn't when he first enlisted, it was when he found his first support group.
Our journey has not been easy.
One of the bravest things he did was when he asked to move in with me and my mom.
I felt like I was lost, and you gave me a place to stay.
When he decided he was going to go back to school after 23 years.
It was the better part of my life that I spent in the Marine Corps. Transitioning out, it's a difficult thing.
She went on foreign soil. She went to war. But the bravest thing she did is when she asked for help.
So I really appreciate it.
You know you don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because I felt like a failure. And then I realized, like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine, but if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
People couldn't see my potential, so I had to show them.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
Today, I'm the CEO of my own company.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Why are we not rethinking this?
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.
Black Life Texas News Magazine, your go-to source for informative, creative, and engaging news. With 85 convenient locations throughout San Antonio, Black Life Texas News Magazine brings you the latest updates on politics, social justice, culture, entertainment, and more. From thought-provoking articles to inspiring profiles, we cover the topics that matter most to you. Stay informed, connected, and inspired with our in-depth analysis and coverage of critical issues affecting the Black community. But we don't stop there. Black Life Texas News Magazine is your guide to upcoming events, festivals, and exhibitions that celebrate African American heritage and promote unity. Don't miss another copy. Subscribe today for convenient home delivery. Get your hands on Black Life Texas News Magazine and be part of the conversation that matters most to our community. Black Life Texas.
Welcome to Wise Guys, right here in San Antonio, where you're going to be talking to two of the most knowledgeable Black men in America. And we have some hot subjects for you today for our show. And I'm going to start out with my partner and fellow Wise Guys, Mario Salas.
All right, Wise Guys are here. Well, today I'd like to address the problem we're having across the country. It's been boiling for a while, and that is the advent, if you will, of far-right extremism, which has been being fueled by the president. Well, these fanatical followers have organized, and they're demonstrating across the country in one form or another, not for immigrant rights, but carrying Nazi flags and what have you. People are fighting back, though, for voting rights, to stop illegal deportation by thugs called ICE. There's a fight to reestablish DEI And that way we remain woke, Fred. We're not going to sleep to the injustices perpetuated by an unholy alliance of fascist-minded people and the current administration. Racist extremists have underestimated the fighting spirit of Americans, I think, against dictatorial rule and the house of cards that these hateful people have built, Fred, will come down in a wind of resistance sooner or later. People are fighting back by challenging unconstitutional laws, violations of the Constitution, partnering with national, state, and community organizations to ensure that all Americans receive equal protection under the law, because we're not getting that right now. San Antonio elected a progressive mayor this past week, despite the fact that millions went into the effort to turn San Antonio into a puppet government of extreme hatred. The number of hate crimes and hate groups that exist now far exceeds what Martin Luther King ever had to deal with. I mean, we're talking in the thousands of hate groups that are proliferated all across the country. And 1,600 hard right fanatical groups operate in America, pushing white supremacist ideas, white Christian nationalism, fascism, other dangerous ideologies, as we might pop up a picture if we see some of them. But these extremists are all over the place. Of course, some of them were helping Trump. Most of them are. Proud Boys, for example. And so communities which are vulnerable to this kind of racist stuff are being pushed around, exploited, abused by runaway ICE police and lack of protection from a dictatorial regime in the White House. People are fighting back, like I said, across the country as tens of thousands are taking to the streets in defiance of the odds to fight for democracy, civil rights, and against white supremacy. However, white supremacy remains the main civil rights issue today because it's white supremacists who want to deny black folks the right to vote. It's white supremacists who are taking historical artifacts out of the National Black Museum. It's white supremacists who are moving more and more toward dismantling any kind of Black history programs. And white supremacy remains the main civil rights issue in my mind. It was never dismantled, Fred, like it should have been. And I take a pretty harsh tone when I say that all slave owners should have been executed or given life sentences, and their property, their mansions, should have been either burned or taken over and given to the former slaves.
Instead of giving their property back to them.
Right. And that's right, give it back to the people who built it in the first place. So if slave owners had been executed or given life sentences, we might not have seen the rise of Jim Crow. If slave owners had been properly punished, we might have avoided the rape and murder of thousands during the Jim Crow era.
Absolutely.
If the slave owners had been properly punished, we might have been spared the hatred we're seeing right now. We might not have Uncle Toms like Senator Tim Scott running around talking about how much he loves the dictator. And so it all boils down to the fact that white supremacy was not dealt with. They were not punished. They got away with it, thanks to Andrew Johnson overdoing Reconstruction programs that were in existence. So the fight ahead is unavoidable. The struggle will intensify, in my opinion. People are just not going to be afraid to do that. And look, Fred, I disagree. Somebody told me one day that, well, maybe black people ought to not get out there and protest like the Hispanics are doing, because then they'll come down on us. What the hell are they talking about? The administration's already come down on us. And in my opinion, black people are the number one enemy of this administration. Now, true enough, they're waiting for some proper time to do it, but they've already shown that by getting rid of DEI programs, as I mentioned, all kinds of ugly things. So not doing nothing is not an option in the face of these attacks by white supremacists, whether they be in your face or done secretly behind the scene. 1,600, 15 to 1,600 white supremacist groups. Martin Luther King didn't have to deal with that many. I mean, it is that many. So we have to continue, black and brown folks have to continue fighting for economic justice, telling our young people, our students, about the true nature of American history. We must fight to reinstate diversity, equity, and inclusion in educational institutions and in the workplace. We must reject, I think, any and all forms of worshiping a cult leader. We have a tremendous task ahead of us, Fred, really a big task ahead of us, but we owe it to the ancestors. We owe it to those whose shoulders we stand on and who fought for our freedom. We must thank all of those people that fought for our freedom and are still fighting for our freedom. And, you know, I like to tell veterans of the civil rights movement, I thank you for your service. It's not just about telling military people that. It's about telling people who are fighting for civil rights, I thank them for their service as well, because they definitely put their lives on the line.
But that would be you too, Mario. That'd be you too.
Yeah, thank you.
You fought for civil rights.
Yeah, so we just got a lot to do, and I know we're headed toward a break, but I think Fred's going to take it over from that point on, and Fred's got some hot topics too. The wise got to stay in trouble.
Okay, all right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back with you.
When I came back from the war, I was barely hanging on by a thread. I'm here today because of Tanya's relentless efforts in trying to get me healed. And says, Michael, I know you've got a plan to take your life today, but if you give me just 5 more minutes to love you.
5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, honey, 5 more minutes to love.
Michael has actually taught me what it looks like to accept help.
The bravest person I know is definitely my dad, 100%.
My friend Sean.
My daughter, Cynthia, and she was in the United States Army.
One of the bravest things he ever did wasn't when he first enlisted, it was when he found his first support group.
Our journey has not been easy.
One of the bravest things he did was when he asked to move in with me and my mom.
I felt like I was lost, and you gave me a place to stay.
When he decided he was going to go back to school after 23 years.
It was the better part of my life that I spent in the Marine Corps. Transitioning out, it's a difficult thing.
She went on foreign soil. She went to war. But the bravest thing she did is when she asked for help.
So I really appreciate it.
You know you don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because I felt like a failure. And then I realized, like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine. But if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
People couldn't see my potential, so I had to show them.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
Today, I'm the CEO of my own company.
That's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Why are we not rethinking this?
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.
Black Life Texas News Magazine, your go-to source for informative, creative, and engaging news. With 85 convenient locations throughout San Antonio, Black Life Texas News Magazine brings you the latest updates on politics, social justice, culture, entertainment, and more. From thought-provoking articles to inspiring profiles, we cover the topics that matter most to you. Stay informed, connected, and inspired with our in-depth analysis and coverage of critical issues affecting the Black community. But we don't stop there. Black Life Texas News Magazine is your guide to upcoming events, festivals, and exhibitions that celebrate African American heritage and promote unity. Don't miss another copy. Subscribe today for convenient home delivery. Get your hands on Black Life Texas News Magazine and be part of the conversation that matters most to our community. Black Life Texas.
Welcome back to Wise Guys here, and I want to take over the topics now, Mario. And my main topic is going to be when dictators panic. When dictators panic. But before I get to that, I want to talk about our mayoral election that was over last Saturday. And the results was Gina Ortiz Jones beat the Abbott-backed, Trump probably backed candidate Rolando Pablos. The vote was 77,484 for Jones, 65,202 for Pablos, or 54.3% to 45.7%. Now, we know our program goes national, and maybe somewhere out there, some brothers knew about some of our brothers and sisters here backing Pablos. They were backing the Trump Abbott candidate. They were backing the anti-DEI, anti-Black history, anti-immigrant candidate that was trying to take over the city of San Antonio and bring some of the Trump and Abbott policies to the city. You had Black folks backing these guys. And I just want to apologize to my Black brothers and sisters all over the country and let you know it wasn't all of us. It wasn't all of us. And you have to wonder, why would any Black man or woman back a candidate that is part of a team that wants to do away, part of the MAGA group, that wants to destroy all the progress we've made in this country? What was it? Now, I'm not going to buy the argument that, well, this Pablos guy said he'd be different. He'd be his own man. Come on, Mara. These Black folks who backed him, they can't be that damn naive. They can't be that naive. There's no way in the world they could have believed that. So, was it individual gain? Did they think individually they're going to gain?
I heard that through the grapevine, Fred.
That individually they would gain.
Yeah, now I can't prove it at the moment, but I'm researching it. I did hear money passed hands, and a lot of times these folks, it's always a small group of them. They got their hand out and they'll take it from the devil if the devil's passing the money out.
Hasn't that always been our problem, Mario? Yeah. Throughout history, that's always been our problem.
Yeah. And you know what, Fred, it's not just Black folks. Brown people got sellouts too. Native Americans had a whole bunch of sellouts. Scouting for the U.S. Army and killing their own people. I mean, come on, everybody has sellouts, but it is always a problem. I agree with you.
It's a real problem, because if any time in the last 50 years that we need to be united as a people, it's today. It's today, because we got folks out there that want to totally wipe us out. Make no doubt about it. They want to take away all the gains that we made during the last century. They want to take them back. That's what make America great again. And so we have our own Tim Scotts here, unfortunately. And I hope, Mario, it was only a temporary thing. Maybe they'll realize the wrongs that they could have done to our gains, right? We wouldn't have had a friend thank God last week you talked about how even if he had won the city council, we don't have a strong mayor system here. And the city council could have probably blocked some of the things that Abbott would send in here. But here's the thing, Mario. Abbott's not finished.
Oh no, you've already got the National Guard coming over here now.
The National Guard's coming in, yeah. And he knows those blacks that were backing his man. And I'm sure that he's going to reach out to them at some point in the next few years to try to win their support. And I can just hope that they won't fall for it. But I don't know. I don't know.
Well, and you know, Fred, remember I was talking before the break, I was talking about how some folks are telling black folks not to protest. Well, you know, there were some Jews that told other Jews not to protest because Hitler was killing the professors. You know, Hitler started off killing the professors first before he ever got to the Jews, and because they were a softer target. And so telling black folks not to protest, we're on the target list. We're at war. This is war.
Do these folks not realize that?
Yeah.
You think they're going to be exempt?
Yeah, I don't know where they get that thinking from. They're either naive, they're getting paid, or they're just, excuse my language, damn fools.
So, but fortunately, the right candidate won, and we know that the Abbott-Trump folks won't come into our city through the mayor's office, but they're gonna keep trying, no doubt about it. They're gonna keep trying. So
well, they did elect one Trumper over in District 9
on the city council.
Yeah, District 9. I'm pretty sure that's a Trumper.
They took John Courage's place.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, we lost a good man in John Courage.
So we probably have two right wingers on the city council. You know, so the vote most of the time will be 6-3, 6-2, 7-2, 7-3, whatever. There's 10 total, so that the vote will probably be 7-3s. You know, 9-2. And you're right. They're greedy. They're going to want more than two. They're going to start putting other council districts on their list. They tried to do that to Jalen Rodriguez, if you ask me. At least there were a few of them that were running that were closely connected to the extremists and sellouts and so forth.
But fortunately, it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, Fred, you know what's going to happen. They'll be back again because this is Jalen's last term.
Oh, yeah.
All those people that jumped off a cabbage truck that have no history here whatsoever are going to come back. And I don't mind them not having any history here, but the cabbage truck they jumped off of was filled with orange Cheetos.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Okay. When dictators panic, they turn to the military to back them up and put the people back in line. That certainly happened at Tiananmen Square in China in 1989 when the students protested. And and if this sounds familiar, it is. Here was what the students were asking for. Democratic reform, freedom of press, freedom of speech, freedom of association, social equality, democratic input on economic reform. What is our almost wanting to be dictator going after in this country? He's going after the press, and he's going after freedom of speech as demonstrated through protest. And what we have going on in LA is the first stage that if we, as the people of this country, don't stop it, it's going to grow. There are now 5,000 National Guard and Marines patrolling a 1 square mile of a 50 square mile town. 1 square mile, all those people. And if you hear not only Trump, but his surrogates arguing that these are all terrorists, these are all criminals, these people are destroying property, they're a danger to democracy. That's amazing to me right there, Mario. They claim that the demonstrators are a danger to democracy when it's really the other way around.
Exactly.
They are a danger. They are a danger to democracy. So when dictators panic, Trump is panicking because the protests are growing and they keep growing. As you recall, the oligarch tour of Sanders and that other lady from New York, the crowds were overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
The Republicans will now not hold town halls because of the turnout has been so opposite to them and to Trump. Now you have the people coming out in LA and other towns protesting the way they're going around grabbing immigrants to deport them to other countries. He's in a panic stage. Don't pay any attention to how he continues to brag about having a mandate. He knows damn well he did not have a mandate in that election. And we, in our first show, we pointed out that he didn't have a mandate. Right. So this is going to continue to grow. We're going to have a protest on Saturday here in San Antonio against this whole idea of King Trump because of the parade that is a parade or march? It's a parade, isn't it, Mario? With all military equipment going down Independence Avenue, saluting him because it's his birthday. They're saying it under the guise that it's the 250-year anniversary of the creation of the Army. And it's usually done on June 14th, but his birthday is on June 14th. But this is all about him. And the people are going, and after those protests, it's going to get worse from him. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I have a quote here. I'd like to see if I can find it that he made on television when they interviewed him in his office, and he said he's no longer going to let the laws stand in his way. He actually said that. See if I can see how he put it.
20 tanks.
He was done playing. Listen to this. He was done playing by the rules. Wow. He said that. Mm-hmm. That's frightening, man.
It is. It is.
And we're going to have to see how is the military going to respond to this. What do you think? You think the military, if it push comes to shove, you think the military will start shooting and killing American protesters?
I honestly think some generals are going to disobey orders. And I think, and then this, Fred, we both grew up in the nonviolent protest era. And I mean, I would love to see protesters throwing flowers at the National Guard and carrying signs. We're not against you. We're against your boss. And then I think you'll see some of the National Guardsmen start having second thoughts about why am I out here? And I bet you, Fred, we know soldiers ourselves who are saying that in uniform, if not to other soldiers, but at least to themselves, or saying, why am I out here? These are my people. These are American citizens.
And I'm counting on they're not going to let that happen. I might be wrong. The real danger is Marines are trained to kill. Mm-hmm. Marines are not trained to come and put down demonstrations.
No,
that's not part of their training. They're trained to kill.
Yep.
And he's bringing in the Marines into a city environment to take on local people who are simply protesting.
And some of the protesters know those soldiers' moms, know their dads, went to school with their sons, went to school with, know them, their families personally. So what is Trump trying to do? Start a civil war where it's brother against brother.
Don't you think do you think the American people would give in?
Yeah, absolutely. But I also think there'll always be some soldiers, like even in Vietnam, in every war, who are going to say, "I'm not going to go do that. I'm not going to do it."
Right.
Yeah, and there are countless examples of that, of soldiers refusing to obey an unlawful order. And certainly Trump is going at some point, I agree with you, Fred, at some point he's probably going to issue an unlawful order.
Right. And how do you feel? Okay, what's going to happen? He is supposed to, before he uses a National Guard, confer with the governor. That's part of the law. You go through the governor first. Then if the governor opposes it, then you can probably still do it as president. That's what Johnson did in 1965 when the governor down there didn't want him sending in the National Guard to help with the march. But Trump did not do that. They're lying. His people are lying, said he did, but the governor there has come out and said, no, he did not contact me and all. And he has a legal suit to force him to pull the troops out. How do you feel the court may come down?
Yeah, I think the courts are when it starts getting really crazy, and we've already seen some federal courts disagreeing with Trump, and when it starts to get super crazy, I think you'll see more. I think you'll see the Supreme Court justices that he appointed go against him, and then after that, if he tries to go and unlawfully order people to do certain things, wow, we're headed for a major revolution in my mind. Because some of the soldiers aren't going to put up with that. The population is not going to put up with that.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. But I don't, Fred, I'm always am proud of Americans. They find a way to, like, we're going to avoid a dictatorship. But they told Richard Nixon that, we're going to find a way to stop you.
And they did.
Yeah, they did. And I think Trump is Trump thinks this is 1930 in Germany. Well, Germany is not the same as the United States. And the situation we're going through now is not the same as the situation in Germany. So I think he's made a total miscalculation, and it's going to backfire on him big time.
And I think Roberts is going to be concerned about how history views the Roberts Court.
Right.
I think he's going to be under a lot of pressure to try to get a couple of those conservatives to at least. I don't think he's going to support it because he is going to be concerned. I mean, he doesn't want to appear in history like the Taney court in the Dred Scott case, negative, or the court that did the Plessy versus Ferguson. He doesn't want that kind of reputation, so he's going to try to clean this thing up. The problem is, will he have the same kind of convincing power that the Supreme Court justice had in the Brown versus Board of Education to get enough justices to go along with stopping this? Mm-hmm. If not, then I think what you point out, we're close to a revolution.
Yeah,
because Trump's not going to stop.
No, he's not. He's a narcissist. He thinks this is Germany in 1930. He's following the Mein Kampf playbook, Hitler's autobiography. That's what he's doing. And he's making a mistake in several ways. This ain't Germany.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah. Okay. On a good note, I want to close by saying that the mayor of Tulsa has designated $150 million to a Black Wall Street project. The money is not going to go to the descendants of the folks. It's going to go into 3 different piles, and one being, of course, the legacy educational pile of $21 million. So that's a good note to end our show on. That finally, maybe something good is going to really come out of what happened on June 1, 1921. When the racists went in there and destroyed a beautiful, beautiful community called Black Wall Street. So,
absolutely, Fred.
Any final words, sir?
Well, one real quick. James Howard, a very famous educator in San Antonio, graduated from Prairie View. His visitation will be at Lewis Funeral Home on the 18th, and then his funeral will be at Friendship Baptist Church on the 19th. So he did a lot of good things, and so we celebrated his life.
Yeah, good man, good way to end. So we're gonna leave you all now, but we're gonna leave you with our famous saying: we are telling our story our way to the wise.
Where history calls, two old souls with so much to say. Fred and